Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around. TV Underground has the best video clips in town. TV Underground has the best video clips around.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome to yet another afternoon DP stream. Thank you for being here. Please like the stream. And if you would be so kind, please help support the channel by using the link pinned in the top of the description to throw a couple dollars our way. $5 TTS. $5 TTS is all you need to do to send us your live messages. Thank you. And we've got lots of fun to get into today. Don't forget to like the stream. I originally planned this stream for 9:15 my time, but you know, I had to do my morning bathroom duty. You know what I'm saying? Like, it happens, you know. How many people have to do that, like, right when they wake up in the morning, or like when you take the first sip of coffee? For me, it's like the first 2 or 3 sips of coffee, and I'm like, about to. It comes on for. I go from 0 to 100%. I guess is what I'm trying to say here. I go from waking up not having to poop at all, and then I take like 2 or 3 sips of coffee, and then all of a sudden I'm like, whoa. You have to do it before you run. You always have to poo before you're running. Huh. Well. Yeah, I don't know if that's the case with me. I don't do real running because I'm old and I have, like, bad leg injuries. I do, like, elliptical running. And I don't think I normally have to poo. I have to make sure I have to pee, though, so I don't have to stop while I'm doing it to pee. Good afternoon, everybody. Please like the stream. And we are going to check out some news and some other stuff. It's going to be something to behold, to say the least. So, without further ado, let's check it out.
He called me, sir. It got me so fuming angry.
People are discriminating against wolves.
Wow. They're laughing at us, at our stupidity.
And you better well learn to love it. All right, so as you can tell by the thumbnail and the title of this video, we're going to talk about how Trump, you know, he's saying a lot of crazy stuff, especially about international affairs lately, and one of the newest things is that he wants to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And I guess we'll check it out. Here's some video of that.
We're going to run for prime minister or governor. You tell me. I said, I don't know. Let's make it governor. I like it better. But no, something's going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico.
He was just talking about when he takes over Canada, is he going to be the governor or the prime minister? He's like, maybe I like governor better.
Massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels.
I don't think he understands how the government in Canada works. Pretty sure there's like a governor general and a prime minister, and they both are high positions in the government there.
And can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble. A lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're
It's so dangerous Ted Cruz went there when all the power went out in Texas. So dangerous. It's so dangerous.
going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of.
I thought he was opening up the border.
50 to 60 trillion dollars worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
That's so stupid. So he's going to have all the maps rewritten. First of all, the rest of the world's not going to agree to that. I don't understand why he thinks he can just rename bodies of water, international bodies of water. Don't really understand that part, but is he going to? He should change the names of the oceans while he's at it. We're going to change the name of the Indian Ocean to the Native American Ocean,
which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America. What a beautiful name.
Okay, he doesn't sound enthusiastic about it. Is he joking? Is he joking, or does he really want to do this, is my question. Or does he really think he can do this? I don't know.
And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country.
I want to know, I'm wondering what they called the Gulf of Mexico before Mexico existed. Like, what did it say on maps before Mexico was a country? What was the name of it?
Can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through are
yeah, going after Canada is so stupid. There's so much stability in Canada. Why would we want to rock the boat there? He's making it seem like the shit coming across the Canadian border is basically equal to the Mexican border, which is ridiculous. But he's kind of acting like it's the same thing now, which I never expected. He never ceases to surprise me with he goes places where I'm like, oh, you know, he's done these crazy things, but there's no way he would do that. Well, here we are. Because I remember when he first started talking about the wall, you know, way back when, 8 years ago. And I was like, oh, why doesn't Canada build a wall to keep us out? I mean, like, we're close to him being like, oh, we should just build a wall up there.
Record numbers. So we're going to make up for that by putting.
I did see this thing. Maybe I should download that because that's insanely fascinating. I saw this thing about how, you know, since the Arctic ice is melting and during the summertime in the Northern Hemisphere, it's just like a regular ocean up there now. Because there's so much of the polar ice caps that are gone that they want to start using that as a shipping route between, you know, Northern Europe, Northwestern Europe, like the UK and other adjacent countries, and Asia, you know, Japan and China and other places. And it's a shortcut because it bypasses the Suez Canal. And one of the two routes you can take goes by Greenland, and I think that explains a lot why Trump has been going after Greenland too, talking about how he wants it.
Tariffs on Mexico and Canada, substantial tariffs. And we want to get along with everybody, but you know, they have to, it takes two to tango. We're approaching the dawn of America's golden age. It's going to be a golden age for America. We have things that nobody else has. We have more natural resources. We have, number one, nobody knew that until I came along.
Nobody knew it. He loves to claim that, like, nobody knew something or nobody thought of something or people didn't think it could happen until he came around. He uses that line a lot.
I made us number one. We're number three. I made us number one in a very short period of time in drilling.
Number one in drilling.
You can talk about windmills. They litter our country. They're littered all over our
I love his crusade against windmills.
country, like dropping paper, like
Paper.
dropping garbage in a field, and that's what happens to them because in a period of time they turn to garbage. Most expensive energy ever.
Are you serious? Okay.
They only work if you get subsidy. The only people that want them are the people that are getting rich off windmills, getting massive subsidies from the U.S. government. And it's the most expensive energy there is. It's many, many times more expensive than clean natural gas.
Clean gas.
So we're going to
The problem
have
with natural gas isn't necessarily the gas itself, but the fracking that takes place to harvest the gas. The way we harvest it is very harmful. I'm sure burning the gas is, puts carcinogens into the air and everything. So, I mean, you can claim it's cleaner than other types of fuel, but still, the way we harvest it is the bad part.
See where no windmills are being built. Off the coast of New Jersey, they want to build like 200 windmills. The people are going crazy. Nobody wants them, and they're very expensive. They don't work without subsidy. You don't want energy that needs subsidy. Energy is a good business. You don't need subsidy. But when you build these massive towers, and they're 25 stories tall, 40 stories, they have one 70 stories tall. The blades, they take 3 ships to ship them. It's crazy. They're dangerous. You see what's happening.
They're dangerous.
Up in the Massachusetts area.
All those people getting killed by runaway windmills.
With the whales, where they had 2 whales wash ashore in, I think, a 17-year period. And now they had 14 this season.
All of a sudden, Trump cares about the whales.
The windmills are driving the whales crazy.
Oh, the windmills are driving the whales crazy.
Obviously. And they had actually
Obviously.
over, I think 125 or something over a number of years. And we don't want that to happen. It's a disaster it's amazing the way a true environmentalist would say, oh, we love wind. It sounds good, but that's about where it ends.
A true environmentalist.
After 10 years, you have to redo them.
Does that mean he's admitting that he's not an environmentalist and the true ones are the ones that want wind energy, like renewable natural energy?
What happens is they don't do that. They let them stand and they rust, and they say because of the environment. I'm not a believer.
I hear him, he keeps attacking wind. What about solar? I remember he wanted to turn the wall into a solar wall.
Believer in this, but they say you can't because it's a certain fiberglass, that the blades cannot be buried in earth, that's an environment. So what do you do with them? What do you do with them? And I don't know if you've ever gone to Palm Springs, California, or any of these places where you have long-term windmills standing. They're a disaster. They're rusting, rotting, closed, falling down. This is as you enter Palm Springs. And they put new ones next to them because nobody wants to take them down, because why should they take them down? It's very expensive to take them down, and you can't do anything.
I know I've said this before, but the top of Trump's head looks like when I sweep up all the dog hair and lint and dust and everything, and I have that like clump of like, because of the color of my dog's fur, like a grayish, blondish hair. It looks exactly like what's sitting on the top of Trump's head. He used to kind of be able to pull it off a little better, but now it's ethereal, you know? It's just kind of like floating there in limbo.
Anything with them, because the blades, you can't bury them because of the environmental protection. We'll look at that. Doesn't make sense, but that's what they say. So we are at the beginning of a great, beautiful golden age.
Beautiful.
Of business. And I think we're also at a golden age of common sense, because everything I'm saying to you, from a simple water faucet that doesn't allow water to come out appropriately, to all of the...
What does he mean? Hold on, what did he say?
An age of common sense, because everything I'm saying to you, from a simple water faucet that doesn't allow water to come out.
A water faucet that doesn't allow water to come out.
Appropriately, to all of the other elements of what we do and what we're going to do. To take 50...
So from a simple water faucet that doesn't let water come out
to all of the other elements of what we do and what we're going to do.
What we do and what we're going to do. What does that mean?
Golden age of business. And I think we're also at a golden age of common sense, because everything I'm saying to you.
I just want to hear it one more time.
The simple water faucet
that doesn't let water come out.
Doesn't allow water to come out.
Doesn't allow water to come out.
Appropriately.
What does that mean, appropriately? It's inappropriate for water to come out of a water faucet. Please like the stream, by the way. Give the stream a like if you haven't already. Thank you.
All of the other elements of what we do and what.
To all of the other elements of what we. This was a senior moment right here, right? Like, none of what he just said here makes any sense to me. Can someone explain it to me, what he's talking about?
What we're going to do to take $50 to $60 trillion off our country's balance sheet.
Do you smell almonds, Mr. President?
There's some man that has no idea what he's doing. He has no idea. You know it. I know it. The Democrats know it. What they did is a crime by allowing that to happen. And I'll bet you, if you asked him today, how much acreage did you submit? Essentially, did you destroy?
Essentially, bud. Damn, I should have the essentially ready to go, you know? I should have had the essentially ready to go.
Essentially,
You destroyed the economic viability of drilling in the ocean.
It's essentially a water that can't come out of the faucet, bud.
And with AI coming along and all, a lot of people don't realize that AI is going to be a big thing, but
it already is a big thing. It's already everywhere. It's used everywhere for music, for video, for text. It's already there. It's in our Google searches. It'll tell us, like, the gist of what people are saying in a comment thread or in a chat room. It's already there, Trump. Someone should have updated you.
You'll need double the
AI can be a good tool for some things. And it's only going to get better, but we do need to put some guardrails on it. We need to find a way to basically maybe create like a digital watermark in AI so that people can't create realistic looking videos of things that happening that didn't actually happen to spread misinformation. Like, people could make a video of Trump saying whatever they want him to say and then claim that it's real and people just believe it. We really need to prevent that from happening. And there's going to be a lot of workers out of work because of AI unless certain laws are made. That was a big part of the writers and actors strike that we experienced. I think it was 2023. The writers and the actors, part of their collective bargaining when they went on strike was that they wanted guardrails on AI in their industry. They don't want AI writers taking the place of the writers. And they don't want, these studios using AI to create films without the need of what's to stop them from just using AI to put an actor in a scene without them actually being in it and not paying them for it, that kind of thing. But I guess if it got bad enough, eventually, because we've seen how technology progresses. I look at how video games looked from when I was a kid to how they look now. They look so realistic compared to the 8-bit shit that I grew up with, So what's to stop them from just creating an AI celebrity that looks like a real person and sounds like a real person, and you just put them in movies. Now you don't have to pay someone millions of dollars to act in a movie, and you can make the movie much faster, you know? So I don't, yeah, I don't know.
Electricity at least that we have right now. So right now we put.
Oh no, I have, I was scrolling through, I think it was Instagram. I don't use Instagram except for like promoting shit for the show. But I got an ad while I was on Instagram, and it was for an AI girlfriend, which is so weird. Like, don't pay for an AI girlfriend. Just use that extra money and either save it or pay off some debt or buy something nice for yourself. Don't make someone rich to create the illusion that you have an internet girlfriend, okay? Don't do it.
Produce electricity for many, many different things. AI is a very big deal in terms of the future. China is already building electric facilities, big, bold electric facilities.
Oh, he used bold instead of beautiful. I think he realizes the beautiful is played out. So now it's big, bold Chinese electric facilities.
You know how they're being fired up with coal? They're being fired up with coal. And we're going to build bigger and better ones. People like Hussein that are doing the same thing as he is. I'll bet they don't do it as well because I know how he does it, but they're doing a lot of things. The problem is they can't get.
I love the, space suicide. You said clean burning coal. You know what, though? Pretty sure Obama used the term clean coal also. Pretty sure I heard him say it also. That was a common talking point because these industries still carry a lot of weight, and there's a lot of people that work in these industries like coal, oil, and all that. But yeah, I mean, the very nature of coal is not clean. There's nothing clean about it.
The permits, because I say build the plant with the building. So with the structure, build the plant. Because if you go into grid, the grids are old. So they said, that's a great idea. In other words, build your electric facility alongside of your plant. And you could have extra output if you want, because once you build it, you can make it larger pretty inexpensively. You could have extra output, which you'll sell to the public, but build it with the plant, and people are loving that idea. So we're going to have a lot of fun making America great again, and it's going to happen.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
I think very, very quickly. It's already happened. So I would say this, and this has been pretty openly reported by the news. There's never been anything like what's happened in the list since we won the election. A couple of months since we won the election,
it's going to be fun.
The whole perception of the whole world is different.
We're all going to do a long conga line across America. We're going to form the world's longest conga line. It's going to stretch from South Florida all the way to where can we do it? The Washington's Olympic Peninsula. And then we'll do another one from San Diego all the way to the northeastern tip of Maine. It's going to form a giant human X conga line.
People from other countries have called me. They say, thank you. Thank you. The perception of the whole world is different. We're going to have to settle some big problems that are going on right now. We're going to have to settle up with Russia, Ukraine. That's a disaster. I look at numbers every week, the number of people being killed in that war. People don't know, mostly soldiers now. But the towns have been obliterated. This was a Biden fiasco that that should have never happened. If we had a real president, if we had a president that knew what he was doing, Russia would have never, ever gone in. But they did go in, and we have a mess. The cities are all blown up. The people have largely left. And the soldiers are killing each other at levels that haven't been seen since the Second World War. So we'll have to get that one straightened out, too. That's a tough one. Much tougher than it would have been before it started, I can tell you that. A deal could have been made just by an average deal maker. Deal could have been made on that. So thank you all for coming. We'll take a couple of questions. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
President, thank you. Wanted to touch on the world on fire that you mentioned, but Let's start, if we could, with your references to Greenland and
Yeah.
the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas?
I just saw someone in the chat mention Hands Across America, so I got distracted and looked it up really quick. I guess it was in 1986. I do not remember it, but apparently it went right through my hometown. It looks like they just linked all the major cities, which I guess makes sense. It almost looks like they went along Route 66. I feel bad for all the people standing in the middle of the desert in New Mexico and Arizona and parts of Southern California. But yeah, apparently it went from New York to Los Angeles. I was a kid, I was probably 5 years old when it happened. So I do not remember it. Something to behold. Here, I'll show you the map I'm looking at here. Yeah. Yeah, I guess they had to try to avoid bad terrain too. Yeah, there it is. There's a lot of mountains in the way.
You are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the...
He won't talk about his actual plan. He's going to make all these statements. He does not have an actual plan.
Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two.
He can't assure that he won't use military intervention to take over the Panama Canal. It's not going to go well if that really happens. It will not go well.
But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. He
thinks, he loves that word. It does strike fear into some people.
And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China.
I remember when the whole classified documents thing happened. He kept saying that, Biden, Crooked Joe Biden has documents too, and he kept them in Chinatown. Do you guys remember that? Crooked Joe Biden, he had documents too, and he kept them in Chinatown. The thing is that Greenland, I don't think Greenland needs a canal because it's a big island. And I'll show, I do have a video. It's kind of long, but it's about how the Arctic is opening up more and more due to climate change. And they're going to start bypassing the Suez Canal to get goods between Asia and Europe. And they're just going to go north from the UK or the, Ireland or wherever. And then take a shortcut, basically.
And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion.
You don't know that. You're just talking out of your ass.
More so, maybe, than the hostages.
It's funny how he admits that he's lying because he'll bring up the real reason why Jimmy Carter lost to Ronald Reagan.
Hostages were a big deal. But if you remember, and nobody wants to talk about the Panama Canal now because, it's inappropriate.
I haven't heard anybody, and this is just anecdotal, I don't know, maybe you guys can correct me. There hasn't been a big movement to take back the Panama Canal since it was given to Panama, right? No one was like, "Oh, that's the biggest blunder." I don't know anybody. I haven't heard anyone mention this until now.
I guess, but because it's a bad part of the Carter legacy, but he was a good man. Look, he was a good man.
Okay, now he's gonna say good things about him.
I knew him a little bit, and he was a very fine person, but that was a big mistake. Giving the Panama Canal to Panama was a very big mistake. We lost 38,000 people. It cost us the equivalent of $1 trillion, maybe more than that, probably the most expensive, they say it was the most expensive structure, if we call it a structure, which I guess you can.
Yeah, it's a structure. Anything that's like built is like a building or like a, yes, it's a structure.
Ever built. And giving that away was a horrible thing. And I believe that's why Jimmy Carter lost the election, even more so than the hostages. Those two things.
Those two things, actually.
And Iran, the two negotiations.
Pink alert, pink alert.
On Ukraine, you said just before it's a lot more complicated now.
Much more complicated.
Do you believe?
Because it would have never started.
Right, but it has started. You've
well,
got,
not only started, the cities are largely knocked down.
So
they're
got
like
what you've got. At this point, to hold on to leverage in dealing with President Putin, would you make a commitment to the Ukrainians that you will keep supporting them during the negotiations?
Well, I wouldn't tell you
And
if that were the case.
Make a commitment
I wouldn't tell you.
Provide a security guarantee if they do enter into an armistice or a ceasefire along the lines that the French and the Germans.
So, a big part of the problem was Russia for many, many years, long before Putin said you could never have NATO involved with Ukraine. Now, they've said that. That's been like written in stone. And somewhere along the line, Biden said, no, they should be able to join NATO. Well, then Russia has somebody right on their doorstep, and I could understand their feeling about that. But there were a lot of mistakes made in that negotiation. And when I heard the way that Biden was negotiating, I said, you're going to end up in a war. And it turned out to be a very bad war. And it could escalate. That war could escalate to be much worse than it is right now.
They can never join NATO.
Well, my view is that it was always understood. In fact, I believe that they had a deal, and then Biden broke it. They had a deal, which would have been a satisfactory deal to Ukraine and everybody else, but that Biden said, no, you have to be able to join NATO. And that's always been, and nobody knows more about NATO than I. Years ago, when I first started this, I didn't know too much about NATO, but I got it right anyway.
I didn't know too much about NATO, but I got it right anyway.
I said they're taking advantage. I'm the one that got...
Look at the reporter kind of like smirking like, God, he's a fucking idiot.
And the Secretary General was here, as you know, 2 weeks ago, saying that if it weren't for me, NATO wouldn't even exist right now because I raised...
So Trump is now saying he's responsible for the continued existence of NATO.
From countries that weren't paying their bills. At that time, 28 countries, 20 of them were not paying their bills, 21 to be exact. They weren't paying, or they were paying a very small portion.
I remember the whole General Manuel Noriega thing being on the news back in the day. I remember that shit for sure.
And I raised over $680 billion. That was the number he gave, by saying, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. And as soon as I said that, the money came pouring in. But Obama could have said it. Other people could have said it. Bush could have said it. Nobody said it but me. I took a lot of heat. They said, oh, that's a threatening statement. Well, they weren't paying their bills. I said, we're not going to protect you if you're not paying the bills.
Pay the bill. Trump the bill collector.
So, in a true sense, I saved NATO, but NATO's taken advantage of us. And one of the problems that I have, and I've said it openly, I said it to President Zelensky, Europe is in for a tiny fraction of the money that we're in. Now, whether you like that situation or not, Europe is much more affected than the United States. We have a thing called the ocean in between us, right?
Have you heard of it? We're gonna rename all of the oceans too. The Atlantic Ocean will be the East American Ocean, and the Pacific will be the West American Ocean.
Why are we in for billions and billions of dollars more money than Europe? And they're a similar size, a little smaller, but they're a similar size economy as the United States.
Yeah, he's going to make a floating Trump Plaza hotel.
States when you add them up. And yet Europe is in for a small fraction of the number the United States is in. Now, Biden could have called them up during the term. That's what I did. I said, you have to pay your bills. And they all, one stood up. I won't say who. You'll probably have it because the papers, the media hated to report on it. But a prime minister stood up from a country, a famous meeting of 28 nations with no press, no anybody in the room. He stood up. He says, does that mean if we don't pay our bill, and at that point it was 2%, it should be 5%. It should be 5%, not 2%. But at that point it was 2%, but many people didn't pay. Some people didn't pay anything. But many people were way, including Germany. Germany was at less than 1%.
You're going to press for 5%?
Well, I think NATO should have 5%.
Oh, you're right. The accordion is happening
Well, you
now.
can't do it at 2%. I mean, at 2%, every country, if you're going to have a country in a regular military, you're at 4%. I think they should be, they're in dangerous territory. I think it should be, they can all afford it, but they should be at 5%, not 2%. I'm the one that got them to pay 2%. But a gentleman stood up, a prime minister stood up, and he said to me, sir, could I ask you a question? You're saying we have to pay our bills. If we don't pay our bills, will the United States protect us from Russia? I said, if you don't pay, you mean you're delinquent? He said, yes. He said, if you're delinquent, we will not protect you. I took a lot of heat. Although it was somewhat closed door, I took a lot of heat from the media. And you know what happened? The money started pouring in. That's why NATO has money. And the Secretary General said it was...
There's one, like, crazy tall guy. You see him? He's, like, head and shoulders taller than everybody else there.
The most incredible thing he had ever seen in a negotiation. Now, if I would have said, yes, we will, nobody would have paid. If I would have loved to say, yes, we'll protect you even if you don't pay. But that's not the way life works.
Mr. President, two questions related to each other. First, you said on your first day of office you're going to pardon January 6th defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have...
he's not going to answer this one.
Other people in there, and as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related
That's
to the FBI.
not what she asked.
We have to find out about that.
That's not what she asked. She asked, are you going to pardon all of them or just the ones that weren't violent or what?
We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole thing, because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. I see it all the time.
Across
you
the
see
top.
it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted, and people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now.
Okay. Yeah, the people who didn't walk into the building, though, what role did they play in getting people to walk in the building? That counts, too. All right. Here's a little more on Trump and, the Canada thing and the Mexico thing.
Those days are over. Working with the Republican majorities in Congress, will cut taxes, slash regulations, raise wages, and boost incomes at a pace the world has not seen before, and certainly not from our country. We had a big chunk of it for the first 3 years prior to COVID coming in my administration. We had the greatest economy in history. We cut the most regulations in the history of our country, and I did that all in 4 years, by 4 times more than any other president cut.
Absolutely, they should still be in jail, depending on what they did. 4 years isn't like the ultimate sentence for any crime. So I have to strongly disagree with you. Like, if you attacked a police officer, 4 years isn't enough. Like, you were part of a mob that attacked police officers. Yeah.
We did that in 4 years, and we were just getting started. We'll impose new tariffs so that the products on our stores will once again be stamped with those beautiful words, made in the USA.
Don't understand your rationality here. Sorry.
And we are not treated well, as you know, by Canada. Canada is subsidized to the tune of about $200 billion a year, plus other things. They don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military.
Such a weird comparison.
They rely on our military. It's all fine, but, they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. I have so many great friends. One of them is the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I said, run for prime minister. You'll win it'll take 2 seconds. But he said, well, am I going to run for prime minister or governor? You tell me. I said, I don't know. Let's make it governor. I like it better. But no, something's going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico. We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels. And can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing a future date pretty soon. We're going to change, because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing, sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing.
Sorry, Jenny, I've never had an encounter with the cops, aside from getting pulled over for like a speeding ticket. So I've never been beaten up by the cops, and I have never been told I was resisting. So if it keeps happening to you, I don't know. That's interesting. Like,
changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through.
I have a record for disorderly conduct because I got caught with weed in Ohio when it was very illegal, and they were going to charge me with possession, which was a worse crime. So I plea bargained for disorderly conduct. So I do have a record, but still, cops don't fuck with me, and I know how to behave around cops. So there you go.
Are at record numbers. So we're going to make up for that by putting tariffs on Mexico and Canada, substantial tariffs. And we want to get along with everybody, but you know they have to. It takes two to tango.
Two to tango. Let's see. Here's another one. This one, Trump says he's going to take economic force to acquire Canada.
Hello, thank you for joining us. One day after Congress certified the 2024 election and less than 2 weeks from inauguration, President-elect Donald Trump addressed reporters Tuesday in a wide-ranging...
These days, because of our economic and geographical interests, Canada is very well protected by the United States, because we share such a huge border with them.
If you guys annex Greenland, I am coming for you personally.
I don't want it.
You had the chance to stop it, but you kept quiet, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I had no chance to stop it, too, but I don't think it's going to happen anyway. But yeah, Canada, they have a military, and maybe they could take out... I mean, like, if the U.S. and Canada had a war, the U.S. would... The war would not last long. But why would we want that? That would be ridiculous.
75-minute news conference at Mar-a-Lago. Officially, the news conference was intended to be a platform for Trump to announce a $20 billion...
Like, we have the numbers and the technology. You know,
$1 billion investment from a United Arab Emirates-based tech firm. But he quickly diverted to other topics, including foreign policy, with Trump weighing in on Greenland, Panama, Mexico, and Canada.
They could try to defend it.
Canada.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up, because we...
The United States did not exist, or I'm sorry, Canada did not exist in 1812. You guys are taught bullshit propaganda in your schools. Go look up when Canada, the nation, was created. It was not in 1812. That was the British. And yeah, they were the most powerful military at the time. And yes, some of the people were like militia that were born in what later became Canada. But yeah, you guys are taught bullshit propaganda in your history. That is not Canada that did that in 1812.
Needed for national security. The Panama Canal is a disgrace. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid. but we're not stupid anymore. Mexico's really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to
we saw
the
this
Gulf
part.
of America.
Are you also
I actually like Canada and would like to live there. There's many ways I would rather live in Canada than the U.S., but I'm not going to deny reality. Like in a war, even if the Commonwealth, like the UK and all those other countries got involved, it wouldn't last long. I mean, it would last longer if they got involved, but we have a land border with them, so the land invasion alone would be insane, and it would be hard for those other countries to stop that. And we just have bigger numbers. Third most populated country on earth. We have more technology. We just have more, like more of everything from a military perspective. And yes, 1812, not the Canadians, but I do like Canada a lot.
Did he lay out a strategy for some of what he is proposing?
Lindsay, good evening. Good to be with you. I'll start with at least his goal to annex Canada. As you played that sound clip right there, Trump said he would.
Yeah, more countries can side with Canada. That's fine. Which one of them would be willing to actually do something and put boots on the ground is another question. And then also on top of that, it still wouldn't matter. It would just delay the inevitable. Like, people should really look into the military capabilities. It's scary. The United States military capabilities, this isn't going to happen. This is all bullshit. The U.S. can't just annex other places. But I'm just saying in a hypothetical, we definitely have the nuclear power, but let's take that off the table. The U.S. would still win. We have, naval vessels. We have this insane naval fleet. That's a big part of it. We can take out strategic targets with pinpoint precision from miles out at sea. And just all of the infrastructure, like the satellites and all of that, it just wouldn't. I'm being realistic, but I want Canada to stay separate from the U.S. because I think the ways that they're different are improvements. Canada is very similar to the U.S. in many ways, and many of the ways that they're different, in my opinion, are improvements.
Quote, use economic force, but did not specify what that exactly would look like. Trump.
No. So the other, I'm going to stop arguing this after I say this last thing. The U.S. leads the world in military technology. Whatever Canada has is not at the same level as what the U.S. has. And we just have a larger military in general, more soldiers, more everything, and more energy.
Continue to show frustration as he often.
There's a few channels out there that do war simulations, and they've
All
done.
lines on the world map are drawn by men. They can be redrawn at any time. True fact. But Trump is such a demented potato. Imagine him as a president of the world.
No, he's all talk. He's not going to do shit. But yeah, there are these war simulator channels, and I've seen a few of them do the U.S. versus the world, where the whole world unites in a war against the U.S. The U.S. still wins. It takes longer. There would only be 2 ground wars, and that would be in Canada and in Mexico, and then the rest would all be strategic bombings and missile strikes from the ocean.
Does when it comes to allies of the U.S., when it comes to the trade.
The Viet Cong hasn't existed since the 60s. So yeah, they're more advanced than the Viet Cong now.
Relationship between the two countries. He said that the U.S. gives too much to Canada in terms of subsidies and does not get enough in return. However, when it comes
they'll send Dudley Do-Right after us.
To military control of the Panama Canal, when it comes to acquiring Greenland in some capacity. Trump was asked if he ruled out using a military or economic force.
70s,
Trump
okay, you're
did
right.
not rule that out. But
yeah, it
as
did end
we
in the
said
70s.
Today, and as Denmark's prime minister made clear during an interview today, Greenland is not for sale. The local leaders there, the prime minister says it belongs to Greenlanders. Again, throwing cold water on this goal that Trump has had to acquire Greenland, that he had and try to get the ball rolling on in his first term in 2019.
And in response to Canada becoming part of the Union, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wrote on X, there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States.
And I want it to stay that way.
Trump was also asked, Aaron, about pardons for January.
We'll win against the world. We'll show the world why our healthcare system sucks ass.
It does. It does suck ass. It does. There's many, many countries with better healthcare. We don't spend our money on healthcare. We spend our money on the military. And that's why I'm confident that the U.S. is world dominant when it comes to military alone.
6 defendants. Do we get any clearer picture of what he intends to do when he takes office?
And we bribe all these young men and women fresh out of high school to join the military voluntarily.
Our colleague Caitlin Huey-Burns looked to drill down on that, asking if Trump would pardon those who were at the Capitol who had violent offenses on that day. Trump simply said he'd be making, quote, major pardons, but did not specify if he would include those who had violent offenses that day on his list. But he did seem to indicate frustration with those who were already convicted and are in jail and did not physically step inside the Capitol that day. That could be some of the first few cases that Trump's team looks at, but there are over 200 cases that Trump's team could potentially review. We'll see how they choose to prioritize that.
A lot of the people that simply went into the building are already out. So the pardon would just take the criminal record away, which is still good for someone who wants it. But yeah, like Baked Alaska, what did he do? Like 1 or 2 months?
Much of Trump's agenda will need to go through Congress. How fast will Republicans need to move if they want to pass Trump's?
I would never describe any war as a cakewalk, but it would be a lot easier than other countries, especially because of the land border. A ground invasion. And most of the major cities in Canada are adjacent to other American major cities.
Policies, given the slim margins Republicans already have, which, by the way, is going to get even slimmer when several members join Trump's cabinet.
Yeah, several of the members that were picked for Trump's cabinet have said that they will resign on
Many more countries got to find a way to get here.
January 20th when Trump is inaugurated.
Many of these countries we already have military bases in. We have military bases all around the entire world. I feel weird saying we because I don't even like the military industrial complex or anything, but I'm in tune with reality.
So a slim majority is made even slimmer. However, while Trump has talked a lot about the bill this past week, April seems to be the big month, as that is when House Speaker has said these bills will actually come to a vote. By early April, some of those vacancies could be filled. But another problem that they could run into with these slim margins is the content of the reconciliation bills. We have already seen House Republicans vote against the president's wishes when it comes to the debt limit. We have seen them buck the president when it comes to his tax cuts from his first term. He wants these things in these reconciliation bills. So the clock, as well as the content of the bills, can be obstacles for president and what he's looking to get done in his, quote, day one agenda.
Aaron Navarro, thank you.
All right. Here's the premier of Ontario, Ford, right? It's Rob Ford's brother. I can't remember his first name. He looks just like him. I know Rob Ford passed away. But yeah, here he is on Fox News talking about Trump wanted to Doug Ford? Is it Doug Ford? Yeah, he's talking to him about, this kind of stuff that Trump's been saying.
Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, Canada, joins me now. All right, Premier. By the way, I loved your brother. We did an interview. Great guy. Yeah, what's your problem with the United States absorbing Canada?
What a stupid question. He's always tilted too. I notice. What's his name? Jesse Waters? Yeah. He's always like, What's his problem? I mean, why does he have the U.S. flag behind him though, right? Why does he have that? Anyway.
Well, first of all, Jesse, you know, I love the U.S. I love Americans. And I get it. You know, President-elect Trump is a real estate tycoon. He's made billions. But that property's not for sale. As simple as that. But I have a better idea, Jesse. Why don't we create Fortress Amcan and make sure it's the richest, wealthiest, most prosperous jurisdiction in the two countries anywhere in the world?
Okay, yeah, this Trump tweet. First of all, obviously, like I said, I don't think this should happen. But if it did, we couldn't make all of Canada one state. That'd be stupid.
We have the critical minerals, we have the energy, we have the electricity that America needs. And there's only...
Hey, I personally would like to be able to drive to Alaska without having to leave the good old US of A. All right? So I need at least BC and what is it above that? Yukon territory? I need that. Can we have that? I have a passport. Come on. You actually don't necessarily need a passport to cross by land. You just need proof of citizenship.
Place I'd want to sell it to, and that's the U.S.
Well, you could sell it to us, or we could all own it together, and that's a choice we can all make together. You say this isn't for sale, but everything has a price. The $1 Million Man says that. Can you think of this more as a merger instead of an acquisition?
The highway is a U.S. highway until you cross the border, and then it's a Canadian highway until you cross the border again.
Don't think about being taken over. Think about this as a coming together.
Yeah, we can come together on a great trade deal. We're two greatest countries in the world. Do you know what the problem is? I've lived 20 years.
Why is Jesse Waters crooked? Does he think it's funny? Like, oh, I got to be crooked.
Years in the U.S. Matter of fact, I spent a lot of time in Philly where you did for 7 years and in Chicago. There's not one American that I speak to out there, Jesse.
I mean, Canada will ban you for having a DUI, which DUIs are very bad, and I don't think you should drive drunk because people get killed and shit. But yeah, so it's not just like a felony. It's like, well, I guess DUI is a felony up there. So they look at it and they're like, oh, you have a DUI and here that's a felony. So we're not going to let you in. I've known many people who have been turned away because they had a DUI. Like they tried to plan a trip to Canada and at the border, they're like, nope, you can't get in.
That has a problem with Canada. Do you know what the problem is? China's the problem. China is shipping in cheap parts into Mexico, and then Mexico slapping a made in Mexico sticker on, shipping it up through the U.S. and Canada, costing American and Canadian jobs. Like
Tim Hortons exists in the United States. So yes, I've had it. Well, I've been to Canada too a bunch of times, and I've had it up there. But a lot of Canadians believe that there's not Tim Hortons in the U.S., or they don't think there's a lot of them. But where I grew up, there's Tim Hortons everywhere. For a long time, Tim Hortons in the U.S. was actually owned by Wendy's, and we had joint restaurants that were Tim Hortons Wendy's, and they would serve Tim Hortons coffee at Wendy's. That's not the case anymore. Oh, you can't tell me nobody believes it because I've had people tell me that. I've had people tell me that we're Canadian, and I was like, no, we have Tim Hortons.
Mexico has to make a choice, Jesse.
I get
They're
it.
either with Beijing or Washington.
Why'd you change your name, Freedom? Why'd you change your name, by the way? Are you abandoning your former persona?
No, I get it. I get it. You say that Americans don't have a problem with Canadians, and we don't. But it seems like you have a problem with...
It's kind of funny because in Columbus, Ohio, right near the hockey arena, they have a Tim Hortons and a Boston Pizza, which are like two Canadian chains. Why didn't they call it like Toronto Pizza or Alberta Pizza?
with us. Because if I were a citizen of another country and I was a neighbor of the United States, I would consider it a privilege to be taken over by the United States of America. That's what everybody...
Are you serious? Come on, man. Is he like a satirical character? I remember when he was interviewing Jesse Ventura, and he was like, are you going to apologize to Chris Kyle's widow?
Else in the world wants American citizenship. For some reason, that's repellent to you Canadians. And I find that personally offensive, Premier.
Okay, yeah, he's this is not a real interview.
Well, you know something, Jesse? We're proud Canadians, just like there's proud Americans. And if we join together and take on the world with a great trade deal between us, I think that'd be fabulous. No one could stop us.
Well, that's the point, because Trump says we're paying to protect Canada a lot.
When we protect Canada, we protect ourselves because of they border us. So we have to protect the countries that border us from worse people taking over those countries.
But Canada's ripping America off on trade. So why don't we just redraw the map to make it fair?
So we're the largest trading partner in the world, 1.3 trillion. So the only area that we have a little upper hand is
Mexico has you beat, but you're a close second. Go ahead.
So we ship down 4.3 million barrels a day down to the U.S. Ontario is a...
Well, good. When we invade Canada, we'll just take all the oil and coal sand and all that, and then we'll be able to fuel the rest of our war against the rest of the planet. Thanks for reminding me. By the way, yeah, that's what the quote-unquote strategic oil reserves is for in the event. Because, like, basically what would happen in like a wartime scenario is that the U.S. would target oil refineries and halt the production of oil and other types of fuel and those sorts of things, the things that generate electricity in whatever hostile area that they're targeting. And basically it would bring a halt to like the way of life and the entire military of that country because they wouldn't be able to fuel anything. And it can be done from miles at sea away from the actual target.
The largest trade.
Yeah. The thing is that there's a strategic oil reserve that's kept aside for the military. So even if we were completely cut off, we could still keep operating for quite a while after that.
Trading partner in the world with $500 billion of two-way trade split down the middle. Jesse, 9 million Americans wake up every single morning to produce products for Ontario alone. I love the Americans, and I look forward to working with the new administration.
All right, so this might just have to be a hostile takeover. Let's move on. I see we are going to agree to disagree. Want to go halvesies on Greenland?
No, we're good. You know, I hope Don Jr. is wearing those winter woolies, keeping warm over there.
All right, very
neutral.
Appreciated you joining.
Yeah. So Don Jr.'s in Greenland trying to troll. That'd be funny if they got banned from Greenland. That's what Denmark should look into, banning the Trumps from Greenland.
Jesse Waters, Prime Time. We'll do
not only can you not buy this, but you're not even allowed over there anymore.
This again soon. Maybe
Jesse.
Next time we'll be brethren. We'll see how it shakes out.
You have a lot of fans in Canada, Jesse. You take care, my friend.
We love the Canadians. Thank you so much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
This is something I found funny. I haven't watched it yet because I don't have Netflix. But maybe I'll get Netflix eventually to watch this. This made me want to watch this more than anything else. So WWE Raw has been a cable TV show for a very long time, like 30 plus years. And they moved to Netflix recently, and they had their huge celebration. To be on Netflix, which is huge for their company and for the fans that like to watch it. But they brought back Hulk Hogan, and he got booed out of the building by the crowd. So here's that. And there's poor Jimmy Hart Jimmy Hart is such a nice guy, but he's been like Hogan's real life manager and friend forever. So there he is back there with the flag. Hogan promoting his Bud Light ripoff beer. They don't even sell that around here. I would have to drive all the way to Idaho to get it. It's like I've noticed the places where they distribute this beer is mostly like red states, which is weird because they're in California here. They might have it in California though. Which is crazy because I saw Hulk Hogan wrestle when I was like 9 years old live, and the cheers were like he blew the roof off of the fucking arena that I saw him in. So just to think how it's flipped now, it's pretty crazy.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Yeah, you know, the old, at least this is LA. So maybe if they were in Florida or, you know, like Alabama, I don't know, maybe he'd get cheered more. But the LA crowd was a misstep.
Hulk Hogan met with a chorus of boos from pro wrestling's biggest fans.
You, the fans, have been my greatest tag team partner because you guys...
Not here. I mean, the Union Buster part isn't even the worst part of it.
Guys is stuck with me through thick and thin, dudes.
I can separate like his work from him. You know, like, and if I met Hulk Hogan, I did meet Hulk Hogan years ago, like 10 years ago, at the Arnold Classic. If you've ever heard of that, it's a big sporting event that Arnold Schwarzenegger runs in Columbus every year. And I met him for like a brief time. He was getting paid to like promo these vitamins and stuff. And he was there with Jimmy Hart. Like, I don't take personally that he does stuff I find objectionable. But yeah, I don't really think he has a place in wrestling anymore, it seems. But let's bring him out like in Texas and see if he gets cheered there.
Hulkamania will live forever, man.
But in 2025,
Macho Man is my favorite wrestler ever.
the Hulkster's more heel than hero inside the packed Intuit Dome in Los Angeles. As Monday Night Raw debuts on Netflix with WWE Star Power.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we know. So the rest of it was fine, but Hulk Hogan got booed. They showed Macaulay Culkin in the crowd and he got cheered. There's The Miz and Maurice. She used to be a wrestler, and then they got married, and then she quit wrestling. What else we got? Oh, is that Ashton Kutcher's kid? Because he looks a lot like him. He's wearing Iowa Hawkeyes. Boo! Vanessa Hudgens. I remember when someone tricked Chris Chan into thinking they were Vanessa Hudgens and that they wanted to date him. I don't know if you guys remember that. Oh, yeah, Michael Che from SNL. He does like oh, there's Macaulay Culkin. Yeah, he got cheered. Yeah, so this is in LA, so there's like actual celebrities there. Cool. Liv Morgan, fucking Hogan.
So what you gonna do when the WWE and Netflix runs wild on you, maniacs?
I heard that the beer it got picked up by WWE and they're gonna like help sell the beer. There's some kind of partnership between Hogan and WWE and his beer. I want to know where's the beer brewed and who brews it. Like, is it brewed by like Pabst or something like that? The beer logo's on the mat. Oh my God. So I wonder, did Hogan pay them to sponsor it? Or is there like a partnership in the beer where WWE gets like a bit of the sales? Okay, this thing's a little long, so I don't know if I'll play the whole thing. but this is the CBC, Canadian Broadcasting Company, talking about what's going on in the Arctic and why Trump is interested in Greenland and that kind of thing, and why there could actually someday be like an Arctic war over who gets to control the Arctic Ocean and the trade routes that are opening up because of climate change.
The Arctic is undergoing a transformation. It's driven by global warming and intense global competition.
Global tensions find a new stage in the warming Arctic.
Tonight, the U.S. closely monitoring growing military cooperation between Russia and China.
The Arctic is no longer a low-tension region.
You've got the incoming U.S. president calling the Arctic a top priority and promising to drill for oil.
Yeah, there's all kinds of oil. You know, when a bunch of snow and ice melts away and there's land underneath it, there's untapped natural resources. I don't want us to fuck with it. I'm just pointing out that that's what they're going to do.
Canada is massively...
Instead of being like, oh my God, what are we doing? Like, everything's melting up here and it shouldn't be that way.
Beefing up its military presence, investing $72 billion over the next couple of decades into Arctic defense. And Russia and China working together on what they call a polar Silk Road.
There are more people, more interested eyes looking to.
Yeah, well, I'll show you this. Yeah, Vince McMahon never allowed ads on the mat in his wrestling ring, so that was something that changed when Vince left. I remember I used to see like ads on the mats in Mexican wrestling events. But yeah, here's the WWE mat. Snickers and Netflix and cricket and Real American Beer, Fortnite. Pretty crazy.
To the Arctic.
So why exactly is all of this happening now? Let's go through it. The Arctic is opening up. These thick blocks of ice are melting, clearing the way for ships to travel through. According to the Canadian government, by 2050, the Arctic Ocean will become an increasingly viable shipping route between Europe and Asia during the summer.
By the middle of this century, there will be no polar ice cap at the height of summer.
That's a big deal, because right now, the fastest way to ship goods from Europe to Asia is through the Suez Canal in Egypt. But, as we've seen more and more, the Suez Canal is not always the most reliable route.
A giant container ship ran aground in the Suez Canal after losing power.
Civilian shipping in the Red Sea has become more collateral damage to the war in Gaza.
So what if, instead of going down south and passing through the Middle East, you could go north and use the Arctic Ocean as a shortcut across the globe? There are essentially two ways you could do this. One is using what's known as the Northwest Passage. This would take you through the Arctic on the North American side.
Yeah, so there it is, the Northwest Passage.
Weaving through Canada's northern archipelagos. The other route through the Arctic is known as the Northern Sea Route. This one passes through the Russian side of the...
Yeah, that side seems a little more problematic.
Ocean, along the Siberian coastline. Both of these routes offer a much shorter path between Europe and Asia than the Suez Canal. It shaves off up to 5,000 kilometers. That's a third of the trip, or up to a full week of travel. And the warmer the ocean gets, the easier those routes become to navigate. Countries realize this potential, and so there is a battle for control.
Even non-Arctic states are looking to the Arctic and inserting themselves into the Arctic as much as they can.
It has potential shipping lanes. It has a tremendous endowment of natural resources.
The Arctic is full of untapped gold, nickel...
The South Canada Sea, yes!
Copper,
someone should pitch that to Trump, that idea that the Gulf of Mexico can become the South Canada Sea.
Diamonds, platinum, and researchers believe it's holding about 90 billion barrels of oil and 30% of the world's undiscovered natural gas. And all of this is creating incredible tension, partly because no one can seem to agree which parts of the Arctic belong to whom. And because the prospect of friendly negotiation is shrinking. Shortly after Russia invaded Ukraine, the Arctic Council, which is the place where Canada, the US, Nordic countries, and Russia all got together to discuss these issues, they stopped meeting entirely, which brings us to North America's most pressing concern when it comes to the Arctic.
Guardrails that prevent conflicts are increasingly under immense strain. Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine has led us all to ask, who's next?
Up here on the top of the world, there is a vast expanse of ice and of empty...
Well, he wants the Panama Canal, and then as this video just covered, there's a major shipping route that bypasses the Suez Canal that would go through Greenland and Canada to get there.
And yet Russia has made deploying its military up here to these extreme conditions a real priority.
Russia has, by far, the largest share of Arctic territory. Almost a quarter of its territory is north of the Arctic Circle, and it controls 24,000 kilometers of Arctic coastline. Over the past few years, it has been steadily building up its military presence in the area, investing in air bases, naval ports, icebreaker fleets, upgrading its submarines. Russia says this is to deter adversaries from even considering a potential attack, and to show that if an attack came, they would defend themselves at all costs.
Historically, Russia's northern coast there was protected by ice, and there wasn't a lot of traffic. And so as the ice is retreated, and all of a sudden it's sort of like this potential, attack point.
But all of this has the West on edge because it knows Russia is not content simply to defend its holdings. It wants to expand its sphere of influence.
We now have 7 of the 8 Arctic states are NATO, and Russia is not NATO. That can create conditions for tension.
People in North America have become a lot more concerned about what the Russians are up to, what Vladimir Putin is up to.
After the end of the Cold War a few decades ago, Russia closed dozens of military bases in the Arctic. It also agreed to a low-tension approach to Arctic disputes. But over this past decade, it has reopened 50 of those military bases. It's estimated that Russia now has nearly double the number of military bases in the Arctic than Canada, the US, Denmark, and Norway combined. And over the past year, it has ramped up weapons testing in the region too, including testing of hypersonic cruise missiles that Russia says fly at 9 times the speed of sound and have a range of
Mach 9. It's like 7,000 miles per hour.
Over 1,000 kilometers.
The Arctic is the shortest distance between North America and Eurasia. And so if you are shooting missiles between those two continents, you're going to go over Arctic routes.
This Russian military base in the middle of the Arctic Ocean, for example, is actually closer to Canada's military base in Nunavut than Nunavut is to Ottawa or Toronto. And just look how close this Russian military airbase is to Alaska. According to NORAD, that's the organization that tracks and protects North American airspace, Russia has been testing bombers capable of carrying nuclear weapons from this peninsula, at times coming within just 50 nautical miles of Alaskan territory. Now, to be clear, there's no reason to believe that Russia plans to actually use these bombers to attack North America. But the fact that they're testing them that close to the US has them and Canada thinking maybe they should...
Those two are gone soon.
...beef up their military presence in that area, too.
Americans are nervous because they just don't know what to expect.
I think given the situation with Russia and sort of global geopolitical competition with China, we are very concerned about making sure that our missile defense architecture is fit to purpose.
And it's not just missile defense systems the West is focused on when it comes to the Arctic.
This is Polar Dagger, a mission intended to show Russia's decision makers what the U.S. military can do in the remote areas of the Arctic.
Between January and March of 2024, NATO conducted its biggest joint military exercise since the Cold War.
Wow. So the largest joint military exercise in the Arctic since the Cold War.
Steadfast Defender 24. One of its main focuses, the Arctic. NATO says the goal was to show their ability and intent to reinforce and defend the Nordic region in the event of Russian aggression, and to show their capability to carry out such operations in Arctic terrain.
We have a large number of Marines who have never been in the snow in their life before.
Say, for instance, in a future conflict, being able to fly with different countries, just the one that is on station in that area at that time, is making us 100 times more dangerous.
20,000 soldiers, 50 plus ships, more than 100 aircraft from 13 countries were involved in these Arctic drills. Russia took this as a provocation. And since then, things have really started to ramp up. The Chinese military is involved too. In July, the US released this photo that they say shows joint flights by Russian and Chinese bombers near Alaska's coast. A few months later, China and Russia openly announced they were running joint aerial and sea patrols in the area. This video, recorded from the cockpit of a US F-16 flying near Alaska, shows a Russian fighter jet maneuvering within just a few feet of the American
That's crazy.
plane in September.
We're seeing
They got really, I mean, that had to have been on purpose, right?
activities by foreign states that are approaching northern communities, and that's a real problem.
Analysts have for a long time argued that Canada's Arctic is much too vulnerable. And that shows not just on a
That was so close. That was almost a mid-air collision.
military and national security level, but among people who've lived there for generations.
In terms of airfields, in terms of naval and civilian port facilities, in terms of roads that are durable, that can survive climate change, massive underinvestment historically. And that's had an impact on the flourishing of civilian communities, but it's also had an impact on the ability of Canada to defend its sovereignty claims in the high north.
Canada's Department of National Defence underscored that very point recently in showing just how many fewer active personnel are stationed there right now. And the infrastructure, those important airports, naval ports, and bases, they are also too few. And what's there is in rough shape. 40% of the buildings are more than 50 years old.
We do not have the capacity to fight very hard in the north. We don't have the equipment, we don't have the training, we don't have the forward stations, we don't have supply depots. So Canada has a long way to go to get to say where Alaska is, but also even to get to where Scandinavia is, particularly where Norway, Finland, and Sweden are. They're very heavily militarized compared to Canada's north.
So Canada's plans are as follows. The government is investing more than $70 billion over the next 2 decades into new icebreakers and patrol ships, drones, special aircraft that track enemies in the air, on the surface of the ocean, and even underwater, dozens of fighter jets. The list goes on. But more than half of that investment is being funneled into NORAD, into new high-tech surveillance systems and upgrades to infrastructure like the airfields NORAD uses.
Some analysts say we should get ready for this. We didn't think Russians would invade the Ukraine, and there they are, well into a deep war. Integration with the United States is a huge part of our defense strategy.
When you look at the document, it actually talks about the North American Arctic.
That really does yoke the US and Canada together very closely. It makes it clear that the US and Canada would be a team together in the Arctic, and that we should be approaching some of our...
And Trump would just say, it should just be one country then, if we're going to help you.
challenges together.
Analysts say this shows Canada is taking a significant step in the direction that the US wants it to go in, to begin to address its vulnerabilities in the Arctic, and to shore up what is about to become a key battleground for resources and global influence. The stakes are only going to get higher.
All right. Yeah, that was interesting. I wasn't aware of a lot of that, but that makes like Trump's whole thing about Greenland. It makes a lot more sense now what he's saying without actually just coming out and saying it. And Canada. All right, let's do Let's check out some antagonism.
I should turn off that goddamn internet.
Oh, don't touch me. Don't touch me. TP, are they going to touch me?
All right. So we'll see how much I can get through this very long video here. It's the Sam Hyde talking to Elon Musk. Let's see how far we can get through it. Please like the stream, by the way. Give the stream a like. Thank you. He shot it in like ultra wide screen aspect ratio.
Glad I caught you. Glad I got you there. Elon Musk. By the way, please don't watch this if you're not Elon Musk, okay?
Sorry.
This is a one-off video that we're doing. This is private, personal. I put this in his email. I don't know how you got this, unless you're on the Asmongold Discord server, in which case you know my every move, okay? Me and Asmongold have been planning this for a while now. Moist Critical's involved. And yeah, I guess if you're on the Moist Critical Discord server, you would have access to this file. So kudos to you, hacker. I don't think Elon's gonna watch this. And listen, I know as a comedian, first and foremost, I don't expect people to take me seriously, but it is the fact that shit posting and public opinion are now intermingled permanently, and it's not going anywhere. And that's just the way it is. I get all my news from memes, basically. That's how I get my news. Is that how you get your news? How would you even get the news if you weren't looking at memes? You'd watch a show? That's even more fucking retarded. We turn that off. It's a smart thermostat, so it's gonna take 15 minutes to figure out how that fucking thing works. It's very intuitive. I don't know why the Nest thermostat is taking you so long to learn and intuit. Okay, a toddler.
I wonder where he is. What is this place?
A toddler on an iPad could figure
It's
out
like the set of a snuff film or something.
how to use the Nest thermostat. That's Chris Lynch, by the way, Elon. Do not hire him, okay? He's leaving this job very soon. See, he's white. He's too lazy. Chris, you're so lazy and white. Well, yeah. You guys should have studied violin harder as kids. I swear to God, Vivek would have figured this out by now. I want to believe that Elon is one of the great men of our age, and that he has what it takes to become a 21st century Andrew
Okay. A 21st.
Carnegie. I think it's important to have great men to look up to. Trump, Joe Rogan, oh, there it goes. Elon, Tucker. And it's not necessarily important that our great men are perfect, but there are symbols of what we could be. I think if Ron Paul took steroids, he would be my number one.
I'm surprised Ron Paul is still alive.
That would be my number one guy. You agree? Yeah.
Ron Paul's quite old.
I would like to offer you an escape, an exit from this hole you've been digging. You are a beloved figure. Anytime you do anything remotely based, people lose it. Oh my God, he's based. Yo! He just said that woke liberals aren't cool. He's based. What does he say? Yeah, anytime you post an AI kitten in a MAGA hat, people lose their, he's based! He's fucking based, man. For the guy who's the free speech guy, and not only that, but the reasoning from first principles guy, the logical fallacy guy, the Reddit guy, good faith argue with everybody, you know, whatever. All that shit. Blanket banning groypers, taking away blue checks, changing the algorithm of the site because 100 people ratioed you.
No, he changed the algorithm of the site when he took over. He also said there'd be less bots. I get way more DMs from bots. after Elon took over?
Because there's fucking 50,000 posts. They're all organic, by the way. This is not some Russian bot farm. It's not some nefarious behind the scenes, let's mess with Elon, we're gonna fuck with him. That's not what it is. It's you tapped into a critical, moist critical. You tapped into a moist critical, and we're back to moist critical. Mainline concern for the American people. And you treated it in a way that was glib and dismissive. You just became a Republican 3 months ago, and you're talking about removing a big portion of regular people, root and stem. No. People fucking love you. They will forgive you. Nobody is trying to get you to become turbo base pilled, full Pat Buchanan immigration policy. People broadly understand that you are a San Francisco, tech, California, international immigrant. Well, if you want to be a regular tech guy, that's fine. You can do that. You can be Larry Ellison. You can go play on the boat. Nobody's going to give a fuck. Realize what you're fighting for. If you're going to be the tech king, if you've courted the MAGA base, you wanted these people on your side. They're ready to be on your side, but you have to fight not for Ben Shapiro's idea of the country of America. The notion of America as this
I'm lost.
Collection of ideas. That's not what it is.
I'm
it's
lost.
Americans.
Don't know what's going on.
If you're in America, doing business in America, you want to be the man in America, you have to fight for the American people. You're not fighting for a paragraph. You're not fighting for a set of ideas, man. It's the American people who need your help. That's fundamentally why I think people are pissed off here. And it's an easy fix. Just don't call them retards. Elon, have you met Chris? He's on Asmongold. He's streaming all the time. You should just check him out. He's playing these games and stuff. He's amazing what the kid does with video games. I can't believe it. People didn't suddenly have a flare-up of India hate. I've been monitoring the Indian hate websites for a while. It's actually set to my homepage. I've been checking these websites out. I watch what these people do. There were very few overt Indian haters spewing their nonsensical filth.
So I believe that this is a response to Elon having a disagreement with Trump and Trump supporters about, hiring immigrants for tech jobs, I believe.
Everywhere 72 hours ago. What happened? Okay, 72 hours ago, most people in the MAGA base looked at Vivek Ramaswamy with some notion of admiration. Or, hey, that guy says cool stuff every once in a while. Hey, you know what? I think I like that guy. Now, he's got to be deported. Sucks, man. And he's not being deported because of the color of his skin. He's being deported for the content of his character. And I think that truly was a mask-off moment where we saw that Vivek Ramaswamy really is just a fucking nerd who needs to go back. I think that what you did is different. I think it's everybody spurgs out. I'm spurging out right now. I'm gonna spurg out later, okay? On Chris, Lynch. And also, Indians do cool stuff every once in a while. They get the chest slapping, wrestling. You guys watch that action movies. He's shooting a bullet out of the air with a gun. He's flipping over the tuk-tuk. Indian clubs, shoulder rehab, exercise, fantastic. The hate, it's irrational hate. It's just racism. It's just a nonsensical racism. The hate and racism and anti-Indian sentiment, it's there to the extent that Indians are being used to replace white people. That's it. We have to stop playing pretend. We're not talking about exceptional Indians here. And that's why this is sort of spreading like wildfire, people sharing these H-1B lists of what the jobs are. You are not in Calcutta scouting for the next Indian Einstein. You're not. We have to make it to outer space and invent new computers. Let's get to India and get the next Nikola Tesla. That's not what's happening. We're talking about people at fucking gas stations. You bring him over, you put him in a fucking gas station, and then we'll go around all the gas stations in the USA and find the next genius. Well, what if he's not in India?
I'm sorry, I'm already lost, I'm already bored. I'll go for a little bit longer, but I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get why this is funny.
If he's working at a gas station in North Carolina, he might be there. We don't know. Why don't we bring everybody here and then we can look for everybody? That's actually a fucking genius idea. We bring fucking everybody here and then, like a needle in a haystack, we find the one man who can invent electrical computer. That sounds fucking retarded and it's not true. You have to at least say that the H-1B program is being scammed. If you don't admit that, then as far as like any type of discussion that goes anywhere is concerned, it's over. It's over. This is a direct quote from Moist Critical himself. I'm speaking on his behalf. He was too busy streaming Marvel Rivals to talk to you. So I'm here on his behalf, giving you opinions that he approved, okay? Nobody's expecting you to go full Steve Bannon here. You're a tech bro, we get it. Immigrant. But if you are on Team America, and by Team America, I don't mean Ben Shapiro's collection of ideas. America's not a collection of ideas. America is a people, Americans. If you are Team America, then the most prominent talking points need to be the immediate deportation of illegals and the end of the abuse of the American worker by programs like this H-1B, the gamification of stuff like this that's set up to benefit people who aren't us. Nobody wants to solve the Japanese birth rate problem by turning Japan into India. That's preposterous. That only would work in a computer simulation where you can just change the code and make a Japanese person. I've tried it! It can't be done. In my laboratory, okay, where Asmongold is right now, down in the basement, I have tried over 150 times to turn an Indian into a Japanese man. And the only thing I was able to accomplish was boiling them. All right? If you think, Elon, or Asmongold if you're watching this, if you think you can turn an Indian person into a Japanese person by boiling them, not gonna happen, okay?
I just started a poll.
Go down to my basement and talk to the 150 Indians that I already tried that on. Doesn't work. Nobody wants to solve the American birth rate problem. What's gonna happen? We're gonna run out of people. Oh, the stock prices are gonna go down. Oh, that's a problem for the All In podcast to figure out.
He keeps name dropping a lot. Moist Critical, Asmongold, and now this podcast.
But Sachs. Sachs of what? Sachs of gold? Just start calling yourself David Sachs of gold. What's the other guy? Jason Sachs? Asmongold? Asmongold. David Sachs should change his name to Asmongold. The branding is already set up for you. Asmongold wants to himself. You can replace his body and become the top streamer in America. I shouldn't say Asmongold wants to himself. I love Asmongold. That guy's class.
It doesn't matter if you accidentally hit yes because it's this video has been voted off the island. This video has been voted off the island. I don't get it. I can't react to it. It seems like there's a lot of inside jokes that I don't really understand. So I'm not watching the rest of it. It's like 45 minutes long, by the way. So I'm going to take a quick restroom break and I'll be right back. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around. I'm back again. Everyone, please like the stream if you haven't already. You couldn't hear me pissing. The place I was pissing was all the way like across to the other side of the house. There's no way you could have heard me. No way. All right. I know. All right, we're going to do... We're going to check in on Cobra. Here we go.
Somewhere in the world today, men have got to stand up strong, face the truth about themselves, to understand what went wrong. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. I know we can find a way. Stand up.
It's amazing.
Stand up.
It's amazing.
Stand up.
All right.
Making a burger.
He's making a burger. Is he going to cook all of that ground beef? He's got 4 slices of toasted bread.
Fucker started. Perfectly toasted in the toaster. We're gonna need sauce with the bottom and the bottom bun and the top bun. Now for our top bun, we're going to add some Jack Daniels, or excuse me, bottom bun. That.
You're going to add...
cooking with Cobra.
You're going to pour Jack Daniels on the bread?
Always a blast, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, this is why it's not a food hack, I guess. It's more of a... like him just cooking.
Trying to get the fucking camera to stay upright, but we're gonna put this stuff on the bottom.
Oh, it's barbecue sauce. Okay, I thought it was literally just like Jack Daniels. Like he was going to pour whiskey on his... Okay, this is better. Okay. I was worried for a second because he made it sound like he was going to pour like whiskey on it.
And this stuff on the top bun, jalapeno cream cheese.
I also do not like eating a burger with like sliced bread instead of a bun. To me, that's not a burger.
The top bun. They want to make our beef. They want to add a bunch of other ingredients to it. Things you
Whoa, I'm getting dizzy, Cobra.
know of.
So he's pouring the barbecue sauce on now.
Get that barbecue sauce, spread it all over the top bun, bottom bun, whatever, don't matter.
All we can see right here is the raw ground beef.
The way I'm doing it, I'm putting it on the bottom bun.
I wish he would use his tripod.
Then use the toaster to make it toasted. On the
It's beef brains.
bread, makes it a little bit easier to make. To our top bun, we're going to add some Philadelphia cream cheese, spicy jalapeno flavor.
Spicy jalapeno cream cheese, okay?
And you let the cream cheese. Oh yeah, that is nice. And let the cream cheese get to a de-thawed temperature so I can, like, you know, scoop a dollop onto the top bun there.
Do a dollop.
That cream cheese is boss. Philadelphia cream cheese is really good. That jalapeno kick is nice.
Yeah, I would usually start with cooking the meat. I would usually start cooking the meat, and while the meat is cooking, I would while the meat is cooking, I would like prepare the bread or the bun and get all my condiments and toppings out and all of that. That's how I would do it.
Cream cheese all over the top of our toast. Get back on there, you son of a bitch. That cream cheese is at a spreadable temperature. Perfect for spreading all over the top of the toast.
Different parts of Ohio has different types of pizza, like regionally, and I'm sure that's true for most states. There's pizza like where I grew up in Toledo. Some places you'll find like that are more similar to Chicago style, and some you'll find similar to Detroit. But I had a few places that were kind of unique. One of my favorite pizza places from Ohio moved to like North Carolina. Or South Carolina, one of the Carolinas. Like they packed up and moved there, and now they're really big out there. But like, if you want to know what, like, there is one pizza chain from my hometown that's now like a national chain. It's called Marco's. So if you have a Marco's pizza in your area, that's like the pizza I grew up with, and it was a local thing until like the 2000s. Yeah, when I was a kid, the Marco's was only in my hometown and like the surrounding areas. It was not a nationwide thing like it is now. The sauce is the best part about it. Like they have a good flavor to their sauce. That's like the secret ingredient.
That's the perfect amount of cream cheese on the top buns. Now toasting it in the toaster with the bread, that will save me some cook.
And then in like the Columbus area, there's Donato's. And now Donato's is available nationwide at Red Robin restaurants. But it started in Columbus originally. No, Donato's is nationwide in Red Robin restaurants. So I can get a Donato's here in Seattle if I go to Red Robin.
It's prep time, so I used my toaster, my brave little toaster, to toast the bread.
It almost looks like jelly.
Being made with no chips. The chip version is mine, of course. Because the next step after this is we're gonna prep our beef.
I have no idea if there's Marco's in Oregon, but there's none in Washington that I'm aware
Now
of.
for a chip version, we're gonna add Fritos, barbecued, honey, twisted chips to complement the Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce.
Yeah, but a lot of the pizza I ate growing up in Toledo are small mom and pop pizza places that there's only like 5 locations at the most, and some of them only have like 1 or 2. I like this view. I'm drowning in a sea of ground beef. Help me.
Let's try one of these bad motherfuckers out. The barbecue ones are good. Let's see how the twists do.
I notice a lot of times in Ohio they put the toppings under the cheese.
Your honey barbecue chips twists are good. YouTube, now we are ready to prep our beef. So we're going to set our buns to the side for a hot minute because these are ready. We're going to add other ingredients to it. Now we add the beef.
Add the beef. Yeah, he is doing it in the reverse order that I would do it. Is that him coughing, or is that someone else?
Ground beef, 80-20 right there, looking good.
Did you hear that? Did you hear someone coughing in the background? Who's there? Is it okay? It's Warlord. All right.
Got some ground beef, 80-20 right there, looking good. Half a slab.
Someone took a big hit.
There, because we're gonna add some other ingredients to it to really give us a kick.
He's dying. Damn. That's what happens to me after I take a huge hit. Damn, dude, he's dying.
That'll make 2 fat ass patties, man. This is 1/2 of that. Wrap that in some cellophane or some tin foil and stick it in your freezer so you can preserve it. Preserve it.
Yeah, you don't normally want to wrap raw meat in, you normally don't want to put raw meat in foil when you put it in the freezer. You kind of want to put it in, like a sealable Ziploc bag.
Now we're gonna make some room for our seasoning. Make sure this big old ball of raw ground hamburger beef's ready to go. Before we add the onions and jalapenos to it, we're gonna add some seasonings. We got some cilantro.
Ah. He has not stopped. How long has he been coughing for? Like 5 minutes?
Onion powder.
Onion powder, wow. Mix some beef tallow into it. Whoa, 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 dude, whoa. Onion powder is potent. You don't need that much. You don't need that much.
We're a lot of beef, so we don't need to worry about seasoning it too much. Garlic powder.
It's like the Sahara Desert now in that bowl. So much dryness.
Pinch of garlic salt.
Okay, so he added garlic powder and now he's adding garlic salt. And he's going to add more salt and pepper. Because I see salt and pepper.
Some black pepper.
I like garlic too. But keep going, Cobra. Keep going. Keep going. Crank that pepper, homie.
That's plenty of seasoning for our beef. Now what we're gonna do next, we're gonna mix.
Oh, I'm surprised he didn't use the kosher salt.
Beef together.
Because the garlic salt has salt, and the garlic powder has powder in it too. So, like, there's a lot of garlic. Whoa! Dude, look at that. Oh, my God. That's so much. I'd try it, though.
Our hand, of course.
Spices are expensive, too. Like a little jar of spices is very expensive at the grocery store. Would you like some beef with your seasoning?
Now we take our seasonings and our burger patties.
Oh, God.
And then just mix all the seasoning into the beef. Gotta take it and pick it apart.
Yes, the rings should come off.
Some good old-fashioned American ground beef.
He's 80% British. What are you talking about? This is the best cooking video ever.
Mixing the beef together, YouTube, real quick.
Oh, here he comes. Whoa, he sounds out of his mind.
Yeah.
What is he saying? What is he talking about? Well, one time I had a recipe that called for salt and garlic powder, but I couldn't. The store I was at was out of garlic powder, so I just got garlic salt and didn't use any extra salt.
Now I'm gonna ask some other ingredients.
Yeah, Cobra often says that he's 80% British, meaning his ancestry is 80%. But I don't know where he I don't know where he got that information from.
Ingredients. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick.
He's dead.
Add just a little bit of kosher salt to it.
Oh my God! Oh.
Now I got some freshly chopped red onions. I'm gonna throw that in there.
Hell yeah. That looks good. You did a good job chopping those, Cobra. If I was Cobra, I'd be like, shut up, Warlord. Go to another room while I do this video if you're going to keep coughing. Yeah, I don't normally work onions into the meat. I don't like working like other things into the ground beef. I'll just use them as toppings if I want them in the burger. But I've seen people put cheese into it. I've seen people put breadcrumbs to give it a little texture, like some panko or something, which I've done that before. That's interesting to do.
Some jalapenos.
You put some jalapeno? Yeah, you know, you can do that. It add a little kick to it.
That was a fresh fork. And fork some jalapenos into that beef for a little heat. This is a lot of beef. So a whole lot of jalapeno, just a little bit of jalapeno for some kick. Yeah. You pour a splash of that.
No, don't do that. No. That wasn't liquor. That was the juice from the jalapenos. That was like the brine from the pickled
Now I'm
jalapenos.
gonna mix all the jalapenos and the onions in with the beef. They're gonna patty them up on this little plate.
Right after it's done being getting gravy.
I'm just thinking about the gravy. He's just ranting and raving in the background, coughing.
I'm not a picky eater, good sir. Whatever God makes is what's not.
Yes, the bowl is not an adequate size for this much food. This might be his biggest bowl that he has. I don't know.
Well, all them jalapenos and them goddamn fucking onions in that beef with that seasoning, that's gonna be really dank tubes.
I hear Cobra breathing really heavy. I hope he's okay. Do you guys hear him like... How many burgers is he going to make? It looks like he had like 5 pounds of ground beef. Oh, I got to throw this out there just to remind people, please help me get a little closer to the weekly show goal. We're at Wednesday right now. It's pinned up at the top of the chat if you want to help support the stream and support these earlier streams that a lot of you you don't get to see, the ones that we do at night, just go there and click on that. Thank you. Click on the link, the Streamlabs link. Thank you. If you're short on funds, it's perfectly fine. No need to apologize. It's only for the people that have a few to spare.
Plenty of beef left. I'm gonna roll that into a ball, put some tin foil on it after I wash my hands, and stick that in the freezer because that's a lot of beef. And can save my leftover food hack ingredients for another sandwich. And it's beautiful, YouTube.
Yeah, usually what I do is the first thing I do is I make the two. I usually like to make like a double burger when I cook my own, and I like to make two patties. I roll them into balls and I season them just with salt and pepper. I don't usually use anything else. And then I let them get a little closer to room temperature because you don't want them like super cold when you first put them onto the hot surface. And then I heat up my... Actually, I should back up. First thing I do is turn on whatever heat that I'm cooking it on and let it get like up to temperature. And while I'm waiting on that, then I'll roll up the ground beef into two balls. And then I oil the pan, sometimes with butter, sometimes with just like, some sort of vegetable-based oil. And then I put the meat on, and I have a burger press, like a flat cast iron burger press. And then I just I press it down and, make it nice and flat. And it slowly kind of comes back together. And then once you see the crust forming on the bottom, then you flip it again. And let that happen. And then you're done. It usually takes, it's usually really quick if you make sure it's hot enough.
Part 1, I'm cooking up some beef. And part 2, you'll see, is after the beef's been cooked up, I'm gonna cook up some bacon, and we're gonna finalize the sandwich and give you an official update. So far, this is coming.
I like how he's saying sandwich.
They're just beautifully YouTube.
I like raw onions on a burger, so I don't normally brown the onions, but sometimes. I usually put mayo, ketchup, pickle, onion, tomato, lettuce on a burger. Sometimes mustard, too. It's weird how we like to load up the toppings and condiments, and then they all kind of mix together. Pickles are a must for me. But then, like, at Dick's Drive-In around here locally, they use, like, a special sauce. It's almost like tartar sauce with, like, a sweet relish in it. I thought it was weird at first, but now I love it.
Now to our pan, YouTube, we're going to add, I'm going to plug it in real quick first. Turn it on to a medium bloody heat. Before we do that,
I saw someone ask if I've ever been to Arctic Circle. I don't believe I have. And there's only one in my entire state, and it's in Yakima. So that's kind of far away. It's like 100 miles away. And then it looks like they have a few in Oregon, Idaho.
some bacon up grease to our pan. And plenty of.
There's none in New Mexico. Are there any in Ohio? No. So, no, I can confidently say I've never been to one.
For those big ass patties.
Yes, I like 2 like smash burger style patties. Yes, I melt the cheese between the patties and they stick together. It like becomes almost like a glue.
Medium heat.
Is this butter? Oh, no, it's not. Well, it's country crock. That's a lot. You're going to cook it in like... He's deep frying the burger in vegetable oil. Vegetable oil. I like cheddar and Colby Jack and sometimes Monterey Jack. Or like pepper jack. I'll do that too. Country crock is not butter, though. It's like whipped vegetable oil to like look like butter. It's what I had when I was a kid, though. We never had like real butter when I was a kid. We always had that kind of shit. There's a Japanese burger place in the area here that I've talked about before where they make like deep fried burgers. And it's good. It's kind of pricey. I've only had it maybe like 3 or 4 times. Oh, no, probably more than that because people have like sent them to me delivery through, what do they call it? Treat Stream or whatever. It's really good. It's boiling. I do like sushi. I like a lot of food. There's too much liquid in the pan, and the pan probably isn't hot enough. And the patties are like a little too big too, I think.
that was a disaster.
See, he can admit it. Like, that one fell
First
apart.
already got cooked, fell apart, so that's what it is.
Just eat it with a fork.
I made. Second one I made stayed together. The second one's mine, but we're going to stick this hot, fresh grease with some bacon time.
So does Warlord get the broken burger? You get the broke burger, Warlord. Crumble burger.
Got some cherry wood, thick cut bacon from Black Label.
Oh, damn, he's still cooking. He's back cooking again.
So
like
we're
Kay's
gonna need
cooking.
some bacon for these burgers. I reckon maybe like 2 or 3 pieces torn in half should do it. Keep that heat going. We're gonna tear this bacon up and sizzle it up.
I crave Dave's Hot Chicken a lot. That's like my fast food addiction. I've only eaten there 3 times, though. I think my first time was this summer, maybe like early fall. But I love that shit, and I want some right now just because I brought it up. They found a really great way to season fried chicken.
Do 8 strips of bacon.
Yeah, Dave's Hot Chicken is probably one of the fastest growing fast food restaurants in the country right now.
This is resealable. We're going to put this back in the freezer.
Look it up. There's probably one in your area. Yeah, obviously it's not everywhere, but there's even one in my hometown I was surprised about. But we have one in the Seattle area, but I guarantee you there's going to be more here soon. There'll be one over on my side of the lake soon.
Washing my hands. The bacon sizzle on YouTube.
They have a ton of them in California because that's where California started. So there's a ton there. More coughing. All right, here's part 4 of the burger series. This is only 7 seconds long, part 4.
Bacon's done. Now I'm going to microwave it and get the cheese melted on top of each one.
Now he's going to microwave it. Okay.
Next.
All right.
Let's do this. Bacon's ready to go. Let's make this rest of the sandwich, YouTube.
There you go.
Yeah.
Throw it together.
Microwave this for 1 whole fucking minute. No, that's bacon for my sandwich, dude.
Ha! He's like, fuck you, Warlord. Know your role, Warlord.
You got bacon on your sandwich. That's cool. Yeah. That's the bacon for my sandwich. You ain't eating that. One minute in the microwave. Get that cheese nice and melted. Oh wait, that's not the cheese, that's the fucking bacon. It's already fully cooked. See, now that's my fucking stupidity right there. Try this again. This goes in the microwave for 1 minute to get the cheese. All 3 slices of the pepper jack habanero, jalapeno, sargento pepper jack cheese melted.
Let's see. I don't even use a microwave. I understand it's a handy tool, and I don't fault anyone for having a microwave. I just choose not to use one. I reheat things using other methods. You know, like I'd rather reheat a pizza, like cold pizza in an oven if I want to heat it up. And I use an air fryer for a lot of things too. The one thing I can't do is like heat up water really quick. Or reheat, cold coffee with it or whatever.
We're going to top it with bacon, YouTube, and some of this delicious imitation crab meats. And a splash of that barbecue sauce. I like to have my shit cool off a bit, so let's let you know after I get done assembling it, how it tastes. Need to cook, man.
Hello, Mr. Jack Daniels.
It tastes like the imitation crab meat. I'm gonna taste it like it's the imitation crab meat.
I can barely understand what Warlord is saying. Warlord is very mush-mouthed these days.
It's a classically good burger. I should give you a couple minutes.
Yeah, normally I would use the heat of the burger, the hot burger off the, the pan or grill or whatever to melt the cheese. Like the cheese goes on, sometimes you can do it while the burger's still cooking. Like I was saying earlier, I usually make 2 patties and I put the cheese in between the 2 patties and let it melt between the 2. Tylenol. Yeah, Cobra was saying he was sick recently. Maybe that's why Warlord is coughing, because Cobra was saying he had a bad cough. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is like a upper respiratory infection or something. Because there's like a bottle of cough medicine sitting there.
Get that bacon with some more barbecue sauce. Some Jack Daniels honey barbecue sauce. We used it. And yeah,
I'm not into putting chips on sandwiches. I know people do it. It's just not my thing. I'd rather have chips like on the side.
This barbecue sauce is not
People,
sponsored.
you have the right to make your food any way you choose because you're the one that's eating it.
Yeah, well, let me chew.
And there are some exceptions to like putting extra shit on a sandwich if it's a novelty kind of thing.
Cheese before you do it.
Too much.
I start to feel like it.
I do not care for imitation crab meat.
Alright, sounds crunchy. Alright.
There it is, folks. The barbecue bacon burger.
The chips are a, what are they called? Honey barbecue flavored twists from Lay's. Honey barbecue is pretty good though, but...
Honey barbecue. Honey barbecue.
This sandwich is wild and random, YouTube. Look at that fucking mess. Crab meat is delicious as always. Always. YouTube, this is one wild looking barbecue sandwich. I'll have to catch you when it cools off. We're going to crown it, let it cool off. I'm going to flip it over so the grease don't destroy the bun. Hold on a second. This is fucking insane. And oh fucking hell, that burger's hot on the bottom. Let me ever flip it over. Some of the crab meat came off with the chips. Fuck. Get the fuck back on me, you cunt. Not losing any of that bacon. That burger is flipped upside down, so we let the grease settle into the burger so it don't fall apart when I try to eat it. This thing is fucking massive, YouTube.
We can't see it, Cobra.
That's how we do it. It's upside down. Look at all that cheesy goodness. 2025 official Cooking Cobra video status.
Damn. All right, the next one is him trying the burger. Here it is.
Here's the finished burger, YouTube. We're going to flip it right back.
Yeah, you got to be like an anaconda to eat that shit. You got to be able to, like, unhinge your jaw.
Side it up real quick. I did a several part series on how I made this insanely deliciously weird looking bacon cheeseburger.
There you go, guys.
I did mess up on one of my videos. These are not Lay's potato chips. These are the Fritos Twists. Honey
Fritos Twists. Lay and Fritos, same company though.
I used.
Or I'm sorry, Frito-Lay. Yeah, Frito-Lay, one company now.
Honey barbecue twists. Crack open a beer. This is the only beer I have to my name. It is from Denver, Colorado. It's called a Peach Daddy Peach Cobbler.
Peach Daddy Peach Cobbler. Yeah, we don't hear Warlord. Warlord's probably on the other end of the house, like, so if he's coughing, we won't be able to hear him. Warlord was around, though, because he was getting fed. So Cobra's at least, Cobra takes care of his friends. That is something you can say about him. You know, like, Warlord's, like, wouldn't have anywhere else to go. So he lets him sleep at his place, and he does feed him. He gives him the burger that fell apart, but he wouldn't have anything to eat if Cobes wasn't giving it to him, so... I believe in the currently Warlord is crashing there, but is not a permanent resident there.
That beer is phenomenal. 1 second. Ooh. I'd buy a 6-pack of that.
Hell yeah. So that's some kind of peach flavored beer, I think.
Try a couple bites of it for you for YouTube.
Yeah, you gotta...
Hard to get my mouth around it.
Right. It's too... Like I wonder like how cooked it is in the center. Like how pink is this big ass burger in the center? I don't like big burger patties. I like the thin, like, smash style. I mean, I've had big burgers that are good too, but I prefer the smash style.
Spicy, sweet, cheesy.
Spicy, sweet, and cheesy.
Get a bite of that crab meat that's on there.
He's a real man.
I got 3 or 4 teeth right here that are rotten.
Oh God, Cobra.
It's hard to eat, but
yeah, that sucks, man. Maybe you get some partials. Yeah. Yeah, I love Five Guys, but I won't eat there like these days because it is too expensive. It's the same thing with Shake Shack, but I like Shake Shack a lot, so I'll go there every now and then, like on occasion. I like Shake Shack better than Five Guys. Is that the end of the video? I can't tell.
I would definitely remake that again.
He will.
Good flavor, sweet.
Great flavor. He will definitely remake it again.
Great and spicy, but not too spicy.
There you have it, Tubes. There you have it. Yeah. Here's a drink review.
Check this out. We got a honeydew bubble tea infused with tropical or Topeka pearls. Let's see how it tastes. I'm liking the can. It's black and green. It's fridge cold. It's creamy. It's sweet. That's a tasty beverage. I fuck with it. Not a sponsor. It's got like a creaminess, a sweetness to it. And that fruity effervescence on the aftertaste is exquisite. So we'll be doing a new cooking video later on.
This is before the burger cooking video, but I didn't want to play it before. I just wanted to get to the burger
for
part.
one of my ingredients to de-thaw.
Yeah, I mean, Dick's Burgers here in the Seattle area is more affordable than a lot of the other places around here. Like their signature burger, which is a double, it's like their biggest burger, you can get for less than $5.
It should be tasty, man. Doing a bacon cheeseburger recipe.
Actually, I'm wrong. It is a little more than $5 now. They did have to increase their prices slightly, but it's $5.30 for a deluxe. It's like a quarter pounder, basically, because there's 2 8-pound, 1/8 pound. The special, the regular cheeseburger is $3.05. They don't do special orders, so like, if you don't like, you know, the special pickle relish and you don't like the ketchup and mustard, then you get it plain and they'll give you like a pack of ketchup to put on it or whatever. But yeah. So like their cheapest burger, a plain hamburger with no cheese, is $2.45. A lot of burgers here are around $12. So this is like a holdout. They have one size of fries. It's basically like a small, maybe medium-ish, like halfway between a small and a medium. One size of shakes. They're very efficient because their menu is so simple.
Check out the wine. We got some Merlot Blackberry.
Merlot Arbor Mist.
This big old bottle is for 21 and up, and we're going to try a glass of it for you, Cool Cobras, today. Thank you for checking out King Cobra JFS. Dig. So my last video series was a delicious bacon cheeseburger with some delicious meats, of course. So they have the crab meats, the cheeses.
The crab
turned
meat.
out diggity dank. Well, this don't want to come open.
I often question why fake crab meat is even a thing.
Is this one of the bottles that doesn't want to come open? It's a twist top.
Like why did that happen?
Oh, that smells fucking delicious. Let me just squizzle that into the glass. Get that pour action. Oh shit. Subscribe for more sweet drink reviews.
California rolls? Yeah, you're right. They should make it with real crab.
That smells exquisite. This is Arbor Mist, Merlot, Blackberry, light fizzy, and refreshingly sweet. It is after 5 o'clock. Let's have a sip and let's rock.
It's after 5.
Between the lips, here
Open the
comes
floodgates.
Between your hips. Stavoja, Salacha, salute, cheers, skull. Mazel tov.
It's funny because like I'll go places now, and when they say something has crab meat in it, they say it's real to let you know that it's not imitation. Because that's become so standardized in a lot of food that when they say crab, it's the fake shit. It's like dyed. It's like fish dyed reddish orange to look like crab meat.
That's tasty. They don't taste like your average everyday wine. Sometimes wine's like incredibly sour or like bitter. Wine can be an acquired taste, depends on the grape, and there's a lot of factors that go into it. But I must say, this is refreshing indeed. Not a sponsor.
I have a blue crab tattooed on my arm right here, and it has like a scary face on it. But it's a crab. It has like little crab legs and shit.
The blackberry taste on this is.
There's like a species of crab in the sea near Japan that looks like weird, like samurai evil. Its back looks like it has like an angry samurai face on it.
Coming through very nicely. I got it because it says blackberry. It's goth as shit. Jokes aside, though. Arbor Mist, Merlot, Blackberry. It is exquisite. Would recommend. Here's the logo.
Yeah. It was, I think this species of crab was kind of created through artificial selection. If I've heard correctly, they wouldn't eat the ones that look like they had a face on their back because they thought it was a reincarnated samurai or something like that, is what I've been told. So there's a species of crab that, you know, has this look where it looks like a samurai mask on its back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's now noon where I live. I think I'm going to wrap this one up for now. Maybe I'll do another stream later. We'll see. There's definitely a stream tomorrow, though, no matter what. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. And yeah, I'm going to go for now. Have a good one, everybody.
In the beginning, there was nothing. And then there was the Drunken Peasants Podcast.
Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. From the strangest corners of the internet, gonna get TP'd by Billy and Ben. You know where you can find them at. Get ready, cause they're gonna kick your... Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants. Drunken Peasants.